All right, so we're going to do a quickish look at teams and asset management. I don't know if we're going to get to the asset management. For time's sake, what I'll probably do is I built this presentation in 3 parts. I'll probably cover the first or second part and then do everything else. And then if anybody wants to hang on the back end, we'll do asset management because it shifts gears a lot more to like going over KPIs and setting up systems and processes with managers, property managers, that is. Things like that, like how do you manage the manager? But that can get very lengthy. So let's just focus on the teams and processes. Okay. Hey, all these things, right? We just talked about. So intentional team building is what we're going to focus on first. Then if we have time, we're going to go to effective team operations. And then if anybody wants to hang out at the end, we can probably do the KPI and best practices. Okay. Next slide. Great. So as we go into intentional team building, the point of this, I always go into it like, what's the so what? What's the intent behind this, and what's the end goal that we're shooting for? So what we find is a lot of people get into teams, partnerships, very haphazardly, like us, like Tri-City, right? But we got very lucky. We didn't really have a really end in mind, right? Begin with the end in mind. We didn't really have that. A lot of people just go into partnerships like, hey, I want to do a deal together. I want to do a deal together too. I got some money. You got some money. Let's do a deal. And then that's pretty much how that marriage is made. And sometimes that goes very well. Like I said, we got very lucky with ours because we didn't really put much thought into it at the time. But most often, the team usually goes sideways, usually after that first deal for many, many reasons, which we'll cover. And we don't want that to happen to you. So you can learn from kind of our missteps here of the way we built team, and especially me as a coach. I see a lot of other people, a lot of my colleagues, peers, and students kind of get into those situations and try to steer them out of them. And a lot of it starts right at the beginning, right at that foundation of the team that they're building to grow their real estate business. So first part here is understand each role in a real estate team. So when we're doing, this is going to be in the context of multifamily, just because there's a lot more moving parts. You really don't need a team to like wholesale a deal, or maybe you need like one person to, if you want to do like a small flipping business. Multifamily, you need a team. Like this is not a business that you're going to be able to do it and stay sane by yourself. Like you might be able to pull one small apartment complex off, but you're not going to grow a big portfolio and a big business by yourself. There's just too many moving parts, and you don't want to, right? You want to play to your strengths, because the parts in the team, like I said, which my first point here is understand each role. They're very different. So you want to play to your strengths. You want to do the things you like doing. So there's a very good possibility you're not going to like doing good at doing all of the parts in the team. So second bullet point here, what are the parts of a real estate team? Well, you have the deal finder, the at-risk capital. At-risk capital is who's putting up things like the earnest money deposit, who is putting up the sunk costs for inspections, appraisals, legal work, all those things. Like you write the check and it's gone whether you close the deal or not. It's a lot of money. For example, a real estate deal, you could have earnest money deposit of 1%. That could be the deals that you're normally looking at 20-30 grand on a average size multifamily deal. That's just at risk, right? It's earnest money plus 15 grand in legal fees. Inspections run about 3 to 4 grand, 3 to 5 grand. Then you have like cost seg reports, like that's a couple grand. Legal fees, like I said, is like 10 to 12 grand, 10 to 15 grand, and you're not getting any of that back. That's gone. So you may not have the ability to do that. Next one's net worth and KP. So this is one where you may want to do all the parts of a real estate deal, but you physically can't. Like you're not going to fake your ability to prove your net worth and liquidity or ability to KP a deal. Like you can be a deal finder, because that's just sweat equity. You just put your feet down and go find deals. Net worth and liquidity, you need to prove to the bank that you have the net worth to cover and sign on that loan, and the liquidity post close. So enough cash in the bank to make them comfortable that you yourself can carry the debt for whatever period of time they're looking for on that deal. So you may not have that. So you're gonna have to find a partner that has that. Where are we at? Equity and investor relations. This is going to be like the GPs co-invest. A lot of banks and investors want the sponsor to put up 10% of a deal. So if it's like $1 million deal, you're going to have to put up, whoever's sponsoring the deal is going to be expected to put up about $100,000 of that. And then the investor or the bank again is also going to expect that as well. And then the experience and boots on the ground. So that's another one. You might be in the market. You might have the want to go put that sweat equity in, but the bank is going to be like, what makes you think you can run this deal if you've never done it before? Where's your experience to show that we're going to write this, $2, $3, $4 million loan for this apartment complex? So these are all the problems that you need to solve. All right. And knowing that each one of these requires a specific set of skills and a specific set of resources that you may or may not have. So if you're looking at this, we can go to the next slide. All right. So you're going to want to evaluate your strengths and weaknesses and what you like to do and what you don't like to do. And then which one of those you figure out that you can and can't do. Okay. So if you're a very outgoing person, you got the extrovert kind of gene, you like, going to meet with crowds, meeting new people, chumming it up at events, you're going to be really good at possibly like investor relations. But if you're like introverted, you like the analytics behind keyboards, solving problems, putting deals together, and you're like, I'd rather stick, needles in my eye than go to a conference and go talk to 500 strangers, then that's going to be a weakness for you. So you want to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and then also what you like to do and what you don't like to do. A lot of people don't want to be the boots on the ground, actually running the deal, right? They want to be the sipping Mai Tais on the beach kind of apartment owner, and that's fine. You just need to have somebody that is the boots on the ground on your team that likes doing that thing, likes to be the operator. Okay. And then figure out again, the ones you can and can't do. So you may not be able to be a KP on your first couple of deals because you just physically don't have the net worth and liquidity yet. So you're going to need to find somebody to fill that. All right, next slide. Okay. Then we're going to get really clear on your goals, your vision, and your timeline. And it sounds like I switched gears here a bit, but this is probably the most important one of all, is making sure you have clarity on what again, begin with the end in mind. I started off with that comment. So you want to know where you want to go and how long it's going to take to get there. Your 5-year goal is whatever, 300 units, 1,000 units, whatever it is. And you have that set in stone. You're looking at it. You have your plan to get there. Very, very important to have your goals, your vision, and your timeline. And then the very last one here, which is again the most important one here, is the core values. You want to know what your core values are. What do you value as far as transparency, integrity, work ethic, things like that. It is very, very important because if you have a partner that doesn't have the same view on things like integrity as you do, you're going to have problems very, very quickly. All right, next slide. All right, so after you go through that exercise, right? So you look at here's the roles of what it takes to run a multifamily company. These are the problems I need to solve. These are the things I need to fill, the positions I need to fill. Then you go into, okay, what do I like doing? What I don't like doing? What am I good at? What am I not good at? What can I do and what I can't do? And then you kind of check off some of those boxes, but then you're going to have some that you can't check off, right? And then you go into your goals, your timelines, and your core values. And what you want to do is you want to turn every interaction you have when you're at an event like this, or at a conference or something like that, and you're looking for these team members, because you're going to get a very clear picture of who you want as a team, right? We're intentionally building our team here, and it's going to be you're going to be looking for people, one, to wear the hats that you can't wear. If you need somebody to be a KP, then there's no point in finding a partner that can't wear that hat for you. You need to be solving a problem right now. Right out of those original five, positions of a team, um, the ones you circled, they're like, okay, these are the seats I need to fill. When you're talking with people and they're like, okay, I can't be, I want to do multifamily too, but I have no experience. Well, they're not going to check that box. That means they're going to be a partner, and then you still have to go get another partner, because the bank's going to require somebody to have experience, or the bank's going to require somebody have that net worth and liquidity. So the point is, when you identify those positions that you can't do or don't want to do, you're kind of like interviewing these people, your potential partners, and making sure that they can check the box that you need to make a complete puzzle here for a multifamily team. All right, so they can wear the hats that you can't. They complement your weakness, and they like doing the things you don't like to do. Like, I'm not particularly fond of going to conferences and talking to 500 strangers. I just don't. I'd rather sit, with Duke behind computer screens and do spreadsheets all day. Like, that's really fun to me. So we had to find people like Steve and Matt that, have that, social trait of they like going out and meet new people, and they can connect with people and things like that. That's what we needed. So luckily, I said we didn't intentionally do that. We just got lucky. But looking at it again, now I know, okay, I'm going to need to target people that can fill these hats, these seats in my company, in my teams. And then the last one here is they need to align with your goals, your vision, timeline, and core values. That is, again, critical, because an example would be, you say you partner up. You go to the first example of like, oh, let's go do a JV. I got $100,000, you got $100,000. Let's go buy this whatever 10 unit. And you're like, okay, great. And then you got a 10 unit, and then you get it done. You wrap it up. You start operating, and then you start looking for the next deal. And then, whatever, 6 months later, a year later, you're like, okay, well, my goal is the conversation finally comes up saying like, oh, my goal is getting 1,000 units. And your partner's like, whoa, my goal is like 50. Like, you need to calm down. What do you think is going to happen to the what's the word I'm thinking of here? Not the work ethic, but who's going to work harder? The distribution of like, roles and responsibilities. Like, you're going to be working circles around your partner, because your goal is so much bigger that, like, you're trying to crush deals. You're trying to get, more deals to get to your goal faster. Like, I want 500 units in 2 years, and they're like, I want 30 units and I'm going to retire. Right. So that is that's a very critical point, that you're aligned on your goals, your vision, your timeline. Because again, if your goal is farther or shorter than you, it's going to breed a lot of resentment because then you're going to be, working harder, or they're going to be working harder. And then you just have a misalignment in intentions. And I've seen that before a lot. And again, it usually comes up where one person is working way harder and they're a lot more ambitious than the other partner. And that usually breeds resentment and things like that. And then the partnership falls apart. Right. So, but if you go into it intentionally, you find somebody that has the same or similar goals and timeline as you, you're going to solve a lot of that problem. And then obviously core values. You want to make sure that they have the same ethics and values that you have. Again, I couldn't be more foot stomped on how important that is. All right. If you're and another example, we talked about like integrity, things like that. Another one would be like charity. Like, if you grew up in giving is a very important thing for you. If you grew up like tithing or something like that, and you're like, 10%, that's what I owe, the world for giving me the opportunity to build this business. Right. A lot of people think like that, where that's part of like, that's ingrained in you. Like, I need to make more money, so I have more to give away. and your partner's like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Like, I earned every cent of this. I'm not signing off on anything. Like, we're not giving anything away. Or doing any kind of community outreach. Like for us, we do a lot of like giveaways for our residents, when it comes around the holidays, like giving away like turkeys and hams and things like that during the holidays. And if we weren't all on board, like, what are you doing? Like, that could be like that's a distribution to us that you're giving away. That could be like a very big misalignment in interests, and again, values. So you want to make sure that you're aligned. Your goal, visions, timeline, core values are aligned. All right.